How you doing? How you doing? And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Patty, and I appreciate you stopping by today. And we're here to talk about the one, the only Diablo Immortal. That's right, 20 something best game. It is going to kill the market when it gets here. In fact, I believe other developers have been suffering mass suicides. I mean, it's been ridiculous. I heard the entire party at CDK Project Red is just gone. They even left a note to say it wasn't a bug. This was intentional. I know, it's crazy. And what's up, guys? So we're here to talk about some Diablo Immortal news today. And so they're doing a couple of things. There's a tech alpha about to start. Now, it's pretty simple. To be able to play or get a chance to be able to join it, all you have to do is be pre-registered on the store and also live in Australia. Why Australia? That is a great question. I have no idea, and I cannot tell you. I guess they just have phones in Australia. Okay, but memes aside, let's take a look at some of the stuff, because along with announcing the technical alpha, which means we're somewhere in the next year and a half or so, maybe, of this actually being released. But they posted a couple of other things at the same time as this that kind of gives us a good idea of how things are shaping up in the game and what kind of mechanics and stuff that we can expect. So I want to take a look at this because I genuinely am a big Diablo fan. I have been a fan of it since the very first Diablo. Diablo 2 was one of the first games I ever just played like into the wee hours on the computer and everything. It lot of love for the series, and all the memes aside about having phones for Diablo Immortal, this is something that I have been legitimately waiting for, and I'm kind of excited to see how they do it. And some of the stuff that we looked at looks pretty decent, so let's actually take a peek at some of this. And you can actually look at all this too. If you have the Blizzard launcher on your computer, you can pull it all up there, or on their website. I'm sure all of this is also listed in the news section as well. So if you want to take a look at this stuff, highly recommend it. They go through and announce the technical alpha. We get some rough idea of what a map is going to be. Okay. Got some cool little cinematic stuff here. Nothing super crazy. Just set up. Now, I'm happy to see actual little screenshots like this, because this looks like, I don't even want to say a little dinky version of Diablo 3. It looks like Diablo 3 on the Switch. You might be like, Petty, is that a slight? Yes. Why does it look like that on the Switch? Why on God's name does it look like that on the Switch? It's like a GameCube game. Anyways. So it has higher fidelity than the Switch. I'm gonna stop picking on the Switch in a second. I swear to God. But it has a very more like, Diablo 3-esque feel and look to it than it does Diablo 1 or 2. So really, this almost looks like they could just be calling it, Diablo 3 Mobile, which honestly I think might be a smarter. Well, Diablo 3 did come out over a decade ago, so I can kind of see why they might be hesitating. Near a decade ago. I don't think it's been a full decade, but it's been a little while. Oh, showing us some little things here. Got some crests. What do the crests do? Oh, this is from the rifts and everything like that. Okay, so, I mean, again, if you're familiar with Diablo 3, you know what your rifts are. I'm excited to see that. I'm assuming that that's more or less potentially where we're going to see like an energy system come in. I'm really excited to see how Blizzard actually implements mobile resources into a Diablo game. Like, how much are you going to be able to just play and grind if you want to? Because if you've played a lot of Diablo, you got to sink some hours into that to really start getting returns. This current season, I'm almost Paragon 1000, and I've seen 2 primals. So Like, you need to kill a lot of stuff to get some really good gear. So I'm interested to see how they do those systems here. They don't really get into great detail with any stuff like that. They're more just kind of previewing little things. Again, the models, like this just looks like slightly dumbed down D3. I likes it. I likes it. Also, still getting Paragon levels, but it looks like it might be a much less complicated system. Unless we get more tabs than just Survivor. Like if, we go back on this screen where we see the arrow and there's a couple other tabs besides Survivor to pick from. I'm assuming that's going to be the case, because that would be incredibly shallow, but we'll see. We'll see. Oh. Gear, the number of gear and everything like that, again, all lining up with D3. I'm happy. They give some previews of some of the legendary gems and everything. Gets a little bit into some of the crafting and everything. I want to say that these are, again, still part. These are either the runes or I want to say part of the legendary gems. Okay, charms. Honestly, when I read through all of this earlier and I was seeing the different systems, because they've actually talked about a couple more things. Like, we've got a few posts to go through here. But the number of things and, like, systems that I can see adding in here, I'm kind of like, why didn't we get this in Diablo, like, 2 years ago? So, I like what they're doing. I wish it was done earlier in some other places. But, we ain't gonna be that choosy. We ain't gonna be that choosy. Character skill progression in Diablo Immortal. Again, this is getting more in-depth into some of this stuff that we just went through. The first thing was kind of just like a preview and a general rough run-through, and then the rest of these are going to be a little bit more in-depth into how they're breaking down the systems. So in the technical alpha, they're going to have these 4 characters available for playing, but when the game actually goes live, they're going to have 6 heroes altogether. The other 2 are still in development. This is why they're not in the technical alpha right now, which also adds to my math of expecting it to be out and released in the next year to year and a half range rather than in the next few months. This definitely isn't like a beta that's about to come out right before the game launches to build up hype. We are still very much apparently in the development stages, even though this is 2 years after the "don't you guys have phones" memes. So... But again, these are, pretty much lifts straight off of Diablo 3 from what it looks like. We've got the monk, the demon hunter, the wizard, and then the barbarian. Pretty good. I didn't see that they were listing the names right there. I was going off of memory. I was sweating a little bit towards the end, wizard, mage, which one do they call that one? We did it. I'm proud. So again, them actually showing what combat looks like, and again, I can't wait to play Diablo 3 on my phone. This looks like memes. It looks like memes. It looks like they took a lot of the overlay stuff off of this, so, I'm imagining that it's going to have a similar structure to a couple of other action-adventure games out, where you've got the joystick on the left side, then you've got a big attack button, and then smaller little buttons around that attack button for you to be able to use your skill. One thing I do want to note is there's one skill that they use here where it definitely shows that it's a directional thing. Like, you have to kind of pick the direction of using it. So when you're playing, on a phone and you kind of have, I don't want to say limited controls, but, it's definitely harder to react to things when going through that play style. So don't pick too many spells like that when this game actually comes out, because there's a good chance you're going to beef it, jump into a wall where you're not supposed to, and then get beat to death by a circle of people. So just be careful. If you're playing with a controller, from all the phone people to you phone people with a controller, fuck you. We ain't friends. Get out. Now, one day I'll get a controller I can use with my phone and be a little fancy about things. So, oh, there we go. Yeah, the thing we were talking about with Paragon earlier, to where we were, wanted to make sure that Survivor was basically just one section of the greater Paragon system, and that does. Oops, I'm gonna just punch something real fast. This confirms that yeah, we do have a couple of other things. And that's technically more options for Paragon stuff than we got in Diablo 3. Why? Why? Shouldn't we have that now? So, as someone that still comes back every like season or two to play and level up and, you know, go through the grind again, it's a little hurtful to be like, oh man, y'all had a lot of good ideas for the other game. Keep giving us new seasons. Can't give us some of this, some more options. No, it's rough, dog. It's rough. So they're going deeper into the Paragon system and everything like that, getting little mini previews of what some of the stuff is going to look like. And this is actually pretty strong, impactful stuff. If you compare this to what the current Paragon system is in Diablo 3, this is already being at a like almost more nuanced level, because in the other one you just get like, you know, flat attack speed increase and everything like that. It's nothing about it, you know, triggering off of skills and then stacking. That's already more mechanics and things happening than in the original Paragon system. So, okay, they're getting more stuff that's better than what we got. It hurts a little bit, okay? It hurts. But I don't know. I'm impressed. Let's go through the rest of these real quick and just kind of talk about them a little bit. So we've again got crafting. I don't think they really get into whether or not what resources crafting is going to take, if that's going to tie into any, you know, like stamina system or anything like that. We gonna see. But at just a quick reference of looking at the gear, we can see that again it is very similar to your typical Diablo gear. So nothing super crazy. I will say that it seems like there's less types of substats that you can get on gear than what there is in Diablo 3. So this is the first time I'm seeing kind of them taking an original system and limiting it a little bit. But that might just be to kind of streamline things and, you know, not have too many useless stats. Looking at you, Thorns. Looking at you. But again, and that character model, that stuff, that looks good. That looks good. It looks like we're getting Diablo 3 on our phones. I'm pretty happy for how things are shaping up. We've got some memes for about the time it took to get here. Looks like we're going to have the same thing. The only thing that I haven't seen mentioned in here yet is whether or not legendaries are going to have the different tiers of legendaries, like ancients and then primal ancients. So we'll see. We'll see, but it works off the normal system of, you know, white gear, green gear, or sorry, yeah, blue gear, yellow gear, and then orange gear for legendary, and then orange gear with a frame around it for ancients, and then red for primals. So we'll see. We'll see if they put that in there. Primals and everything were a later addition to it, so that might be something we do eventually get. We just don't get at launch. So we gonna see. We gonna see. Rare and legendary items can be further upgraded through a new system we're calling item ranks. Couldn't have given us more ways to upgrade gear in Diablo 3, guys. Why are you doing this? It might just be that the only game that the Diablo Immortal kills when it comes out is Diablo 3, and that'll be because it has superior systems for whatever reason. Oh, excuse me. Also got some charm stuff that we can add to weapons. It seems like it's leveling up a bunch of skills all at once. Which again, where's this in D3? Like, this is insane. So the rune system is something that's still tied to character skills in that. But from this, apparently you get them from Elder Rifts. So this might be part of how they're going to do like your gear farming and leveling up and powering up skills. You might be doing that through doing greater rifts and everything. And then supplementing them with charms, I guess, because we have all these avenues to upgrade stuff. Again, more than we have in D3, which is deeply confusing. But okay, it's fine. It's fine. We're getting legendary gems in this, which I don't know if they're going to work the same way where they drop out of rifts and then you need to complete greater rifts or some equivalent to that to be able to level them up higher. Because you can level gems, I don't think there's a cap for them. Past like 60, 70, I think even up past 100 in Diablo 3. I don't know. I've never gotten like 5k in Paragon before, so I can't tell you how deep the rabbit hole really goes. I guess I'm just slightly above dirty casual. Or upgrading legendary gems. It should probably tell us right here that so you need identical ones to get a more powerful one of that type. Interesting. Well, I don't know. That's a little weird. I'll reserve judgment on that. But I like that if you can keep working on the gear after you get it, that's pretty huge, because in Diablo 3 right now, basically, once you get the gear, that's kind of it. There is a huge resource sink where you can add stats to ancient gear and above in Diablo, but it takes, you have to have legendary gems leveled up to like 30 or 60 or something like that to feed them in to get boosted stats from it. So it's a very like time-wasty end game system for people that just needs kind of something to do. So it's nice that there's actually something in this where you get a piece of gear and then you can actually work on it a little bit and do some stuff to it. I think that is a really smart move that'll add plenty of game time and replayability and everything, because I like it. I like it. And the last thing that they posted was our free-to-play approach and values. Hopefully this isn't a meme that will come back to haunt them. So Let's read some of it and then we'll start skimming. So, our approach and values. We know one of the outstanding questions about the game is, what is the business model for Diablo Immortal? Getting this right for players is important to our team, and today we want to share how we're coming at this for Immortal. What is the values behind it and how it works in practice? Before we dig in, we'll be referencing several game systems in this blog, so we highly recommend checking out our gameplay blogs first. Understanding how these systems work is useful to keep in mind as you read on. Diablo Immortal will be a free-to-play with optional in-app purchases. We plan on supporting Diablo Immortal with consistent cadence of free content. I feel like I read that word wrong. Including new gear, features, classes, stories, and areas to explore. More content than you ever added to Diablo. Thanks for canceling the second expansion. We also want to make sure that every purchase feels fair and is guided by a clear set of values that place an emphasis on the player experience for all players. First and foremost of these values is gameplay first. Core mechanics are designed to be fun first, and purchases should never circumvent Diablo's core gameplay. Killing demons and getting gear. There should always be a pathway to earn most of the things that you can pay for, and critically important is that the only way to acquire gear is by playing the game. Secondly, we want to provide purchase options that feel worthwhile and deepen your engagement and enjoyment of the game, and where possible the enjoyment of other players as well. Purchases should not detract from your gameplay experience. Yeah, hopefully that means that, there's not going to be a huge pay-to-win thing to where people can spend money and absolutely bully you. Please, God, don't let that be part of the system. Third, purchases should feel like a bonus and entirely optional to enjoy Immortal. The core Diablo Immortal game experience will always be free, and you should be able to enjoy that game for hours on end, whether or not you choose to spend money. So hopefully that means there's no resource system locking you in from how much that you can play and run things. If they do that, they're geniuses. They're geniuses. But I have a hard time believing that corporate executives aren't going to look at a mobile game economic system and be like, oh no, we'll take away stamina, which is one of our biggest ways of basically play gating people. So we'll see. We'll see. What you can buy, a few examples. A good example of these values at work are crests used with Elder Rifts. Players can run Elder Rifts to their heart's content, and crests can be earned or purchased, providing both personal and social benefits. Using crests spices up the experience by adding random modifiers that enhance gameplay, making a rift either easier or more challenging. Using a crest guarantees certain non-gear rewards such as runes and legendary gems. Crests also provide rift points when used by at least one member of the party, and all players in the group will be rewarded with rift points even if they do not use their own crest. Accumulated rift points can be then used to acquire items such as legendary gems. Whew. Okay, so crests seem pretty huge. I thought that was a little additive thing, but that's apparently tying into a lot of gameplay. Apparently reforging is something that you're going to be able to also do, which is even whales know better to really go ham on reforged stones. Like, they've had those in Summoner's War for forever, and people don't go insane buying those. It's rare that you have a piece of gear that is worth the reroll on, because rerolls are so hard to get and so expensive that the whole system ends up not even really being worth messing with. So unless they, tune that in really nicely and everybody gets to, do their fair share of rerolls or reforges, excuse me, I don't know. That seems like a kind of silly place, but we'll just rock with it. Immortal also has Battle Pass. Okay. I'm not mad about that. So there's a market, and it's not the Diablo 3 real money auction house. That actually might have been a smart thing to do. I want to make some money off Diablo Immortal. That would have been cool. Come on now. But it was probably not the healthiest thing for games. But also, stat balance was so horrible in the early game that the only reason the market did really ridiculously was certain classes had to absolutely have certain stats, and there was no negotiating on that. You could not move forward without them. So that created a system where people almost had to, try and buy in source gear that had this hyper-specific stats on it. Because it was too brutal once you got to the end game. But we have a market. We'll see how this works when it actually goes live. Talks about some currencies and everything through technical alpha and beyond. Our focus for the technical alpha is on gameplay and making sure Immortal is fun. The technical alpha will not have any real money transactions, though we may provide some in-game currency to test out these systems. That said, we'll continue to refine our approach, always leading with our values, putting gameplay first, providing worthwhile options, and designing them as a bonus. Our goal is to ensure that it feels right for Diablo Immortal and its players. So, all in all, I liked everything that I saw with these posts. I am honestly hyped with this game. I do have some reserves about how the monetization system is going to work. But it was important enough to them to make sure they communicate clearly on that it's one of the 4 main blog posts and kind of the biggest information announcement that we've had with Diablo Immortal, period. So it feels like to me that there's a chance that they're prioritizing this correctly. I'm not going to say that they are, but at least looks like they're taking the right steps and trying to be transparent and explaining the process. So that's all well and nice. Words can be really, really, really pretty, just like your boy, but we need to see what they actually do with all that stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. But thank you guys so much for stopping by today. Let me know what you think about Diablo Immortal, and if you're looking forward to this one at all, or if it's just a meme to you. That is also completely fair. But thank you so much for stopping by today. You're going to have to catch your boy in the next one, because we're out of here. Deuces. Oop, missed the button.